Thank you very much for listening to this week's talk on the Sedra of Tzav, the second Sedra in the book of Vayikra, and it's also Shabbos Parah that we read the special maftir for talking about the Parah Aduma, the red heifer, and we're reading this in advance of the upcoming month of Nisan, when people have to start making sure, people at the time of the Bet HaMikdash would have to make sure that they were ritually tahor, that they were going to be ritually pure to bring the Korban Pesach, and this required time. So the reading of the Parashas Parah at this point in advance is to ensure that the adequate time was given to make sure of this state of ritual purity to bring the Korban Pesach. And as we've celebrated Purim and we're looking towards Pesach, we are thinking about the hostages and dedicating our learning to please God their miraculous safe return. And we're thinking about the soldiers in the IDF and praying for their safety and success of their mission as they are defending the people of Israel. And please God, as we are going from the Geula, from the redemption of Purim, towards the Geula, the redemption of Pesach, that we really are having in mind this special redemption that we need so literally in the times that we're going through now. And this is a recurring theme in the book of Vayikra, which is called Torah's Kohanim, which literally means the Torah of the Kohanim, of the priests. And we can be forgiven for thinking, I'm not a priest, we don't have the temple at the moment, so how can I take pertinent lessons for myself, for my daily life and inspiration? And this week it's very fascinating because the Sedra actually opens with the describing the sacrifice of the Olah, the fire offering, which was totally consumed on the Mizbeach, on the altar. And there was a particular ceremony called Trumas Hadeshen, which means literally raising of the ashes. It was, we could ask whether there should have been one mitzvah of Trumas Hadeshen, of lifting up the ashes, because it sounds very much like a housekeeping job, that the olah, the offering that had been reduced to ashes was then cleaned out. So it's fascinating that it is mentioned at all, and it has the status of a mitzvah, and not only a mitzvah, two mitzvahs, because it consisted of lifting up, raising a certain amount of the ashes, which was one shovel load, which was designated as holy and put right by the altar. And the other mitzvah was called Hotza'as Hadeshen, which means taking out of the ashes, when a significant amount of ashes had accumulated, and then these ashes were taken outside of the camp to a holy place. So they were still regarded as having a holy status, but they were removed from the camp. They no longer had that pride of place right by the altar. So this, we're sort of thinking, why on earth is it mentioned at all, even at the time of the service of the Mishkan, of the Bet HaMikdash, and certainly now. But not only can we find relevance in our lives, it is actually part of the morning prayers. And these are the morning prayers that are called korbanos, Seder korbanos. We translate it as the order of the offerings. And it is, even though Rav Bernstein Zatzal used to say that when people come late to davening, to their prayers, the first thing they sacrifice is the korbanos. So this is a section that they would leave out. But the fact that it is included in the Siddur, in the morning prayers, is giving us a message that apart from learning the laws of the korbanos. So when we are praying for the rebuilding of the Bet Hamikdash for the time of redemption, that we are going to be au fait, we are going to be familiar with the various laws. We're not just saying, oh, there isn't a temple now, I don't need to know about that. So there's that on one level. The other level is that there are very deep insights into the practices, into the words used by the Torah that help us function as healthy human beings during our lives, irrespective of the time period that we live and whether we're actually carrying out, whether we're actually bringing these korbanot. And this idea of the ashes, there's a very beautiful explanation given by Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch that that when we are putting aside these ashes, the ashes come from the from the korban olah, from the offering that was burnt up. Now this olah, this particular type of offering was brought to atone for transgressions that had been committed in the world of thought. So these transgressions had not actually manifested in a deed, but they remained in the realm of thought, and these thoughts were inappropriate, wrong, and they required this korban, which was actually a korban that was a very expensive korban to bring, and this is an exception from many principles in other legal systems, that intention alone is not generally something that one is punished for. And it's not a question of punishment, but the fact that a korban is brought, that a person has to honestly look into their thoughts, consider their thoughts, and if they are thoughts that are forbidden thoughts, that this required the bringing of the particular korban. And the question can be asked: how do we control our thoughts? This is something that, on the face of it, we might think that this is impossible. But the very fact that the Torah is telling us to bring a korban for this category of transgressions means that it is within our power to control our thoughts. And we can also find various mitzvot that actually exist in the realm of thought. So that is another indication that we are actually able. Perhaps it's difficult, but we don't just need to think that a thought is something that just comes into my head and I have no control over. And examples of mitzvot that exist in the realm of thought: the command to love Hashem, the command to fear Hashem. Very famously, the 10th of the Aseret HaDibrot, Lo Tachmod, you shall not covet, you shall not want something that belongs to another person. That exists completely in my head. And so by drawing our attention and focus to the thoughts that we are thinking, the Torah is making us aware that actually deeds are the second stage of what we do. The deed starts with a thought, and when we have certain thoughts, the Torah is giving us that significant power to know that although a thought can come into my head, I do not need to be governed by that thought. I do not need to hold on to that thought and give it power over me to take me to a place that is not right for me to go. And although I can try to ensure that my environment is not going to bring out thoughts that belong to the category of forbidden thoughts, I can take certain precautions to make sure that I can help myself on the path to thinking the thoughts that are going to be beneficial, that are going to take me away from those thoughts that will require me to bring a korban olah. But by giving myself that ability, by giving myself that responsibility, the Torah is giving me a gift to know that I don't have to be a victim of my thoughts. And when I am, it is something that I can be honest with myself about, that I can train myself. And bringing a korban is a very powerful way of achieving that cleansing, to know that I have thought something. It didn't actually manifest as a deed, but I can still confront that it has taken me to a bad place. And that is going to be perhaps the first step in rectifying and elevating me after that experience. And the ceremony of the ashes, the uplifting of the ashes, that's the first mitzvah, and then taking out of the ashes, that's also a way to, by bringing this korban, by acknowledging that I have thought something that was wrong, and it has become a way of going forward to a better future. I'm looking at the past, I'm learning from the past, and I'm building on the past. But I'm actually, once I've confronted that and reduced it to ashes, there will be a time that I take it outside the camp, and that I know that I am going to look forward. I am going to focus on tomorrow, and I am going to bring the new potential of tomorrow, unsullied by whatever I have thought wrong previously. And another seemingly trivial detail that the Torah mentions is that the Kohen had to change his clothes. And again, this seems to be a simple housekeeping instruction, that the cleaning out ashes is invariably going to make somebody dirty. So one is not going to then go and perform the rest of the avodah, the rest of the service in the Mishkan, with these soiled clothes. But it is this idea of cleansing, and the idea also of understanding that giving the previous day its special, its value, and the way to go forward to the next day. And when the time is right, then to put that outside and focus on the new day. That is actually an important and holy job. It's not something that you'll say, oh, it's beneath my dignity, I don't want to clean out the altar. The fact that the Torah mentions it at the beginning of this portion, and this year that we have just come out of the festival of Purim, and we are looking forward to Pesach, and we are hoping that we are going to take the inspiration, we're going to take the lessons and the messages that the Torah writes regarding the practice in the Mishkan, but we can see how the psychological insights can help us at any time in our lives, going through the challenges that we're facing now. And on any occasion, the attitude of building on the past, and then putting that to one side, and then going forward to the future. That the fact that we say this portion every single morning, and we remember the practice of the priests in the in the Mishkan and then the Bet Hamikdash, then this is something that keeps our tradition alive, and also gives us psychological tools to help us as we go forward with a clean slate, and also hold on to those precious practices of the times of the Mishkan and the Bet Hamikdash. And please God, as we go forward to to come into the month of, we're going towards the month of Nisan, that we should really be focusing on the theme of Geula, on the theme of redemption, and just like our ancestors were redeemed in the past, that please God, we should experience the redemption of all of the hostages, and that please God, as a nation, we will be redeemed from this time of challenge that we are going through now, and really go forward to come out of this stage and celebrate, please God, all of the various requests that we are praying for so hard at the moment. Thank you very much for listening, and wishing everybody Shabbat Shalom.